Welcome to Director's
It's a
Note.
pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure.
So we're going to talk
Very
about good
happy.
luck today.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Debbie, start us off. I read that this was sort of semi-autobiographical. So how did the script come to be? How did it develop?
Yeah. So I started writing the script at the same time that I was writing the album. So this film is very much tied into my album of the same name called Good Luck. And I wrote both of them at the same time. This was like during the pandemic and kind of over the span of 2 years or so. And what I wanted to do was that I wanted to make a short film that was like experimental in its technique and in certain visual styles and stuff, but also even in the way that it was presented, like having a short film that's like a part visual album, but also like a narrative in and of itself. And the album is very personal. It's like very much about my own life and things. And so the film also reflects that. Like a lot of it is like that are instances and things that I took from my own life. For example, like all of the girls, they go to an all girls school. My high school was an all girls Catholic school. Um, the partying is, it's very true to life. Like all of that stuff is just like very much bits and pieces from my own life. And there's definitely like a personal flavor to it all, but I wanted to do it in a way that was universal as well. So I wrote the story in a way that I thought that a lot of people could relate to, just like this feeling of, adolescence and like becoming great, getting older and, um, saying goodbye to your youth in a way. Yeah.
Beautiful. And so how did you come to be working with Nathan?
Yeah. So Nathan and I actually met totally like at random. Uh, I was in Paris and I was visiting my sister, and I happened to go to our mutual friend's gallery show. And just happened to be there. Like it really was like not planned at all. And I just happened to be there. And then that's where I met Nathan. And our mutual friend, his name is Chino Amobi. He's another artist. And Nathan had directed his short film, Eroica. And I remember when Chino sent me the film, I really liked it. I was like, oh, this is fantastic. Like, this is really great. And then there at the gallery show, he introduced me to Nathan. And we spoke for maybe like, what was it, like 5 minutes, I think, is like
Yeah.
the
Also
total
like two
amount of time.
minutes,
Mhm.
two and a
Yeah, like
half,
2 minutes, two
almost
and a
three.
half minutes spoke. Yeah. We spoke for just like a very short amount of time, but we like exchanged contacts. Um, and then I ended up flying back to Canada. I wasn't touring regularly yet, but I was kind of doing these shows, and I had to fly back to Canada. And we spoke over, I think it was Instagram, and
Mhm.
we kind of started off first. I was like, oh, I really like your work. And can you show me more of it? And he sent me his first short film that he had made, which is The Bicycle. And I really liked it. And I was like, well, I have this script and I have this funding. And I've been trying to get the Good Luck short film made for about a year and a half. And it just never fully got off the ground. But then last summer, I was like, all right, I need to just like make this thing and do it. And so I asked Nathan, I was like, well, I have this script. I like your work. Like, what do you think? Do you want to do this with me? And like, we'll figure out the details. And he was like, yeah, sure. And then there we go. We started working together.
Nathan, what about the script did you like?
Yeah.
Why did you think that you wanted to get involved in the project?
First of all, I remember that after having met Debbie in Paris, I remember that I spent all the trip by train from Paris to Milan, which is like 7 hours, like listening to the music of Debbie that I found on internet. No? So obviously, Good Luck didn't exist at that time, but but I was like listening to her. Um, I mean, Good Luck is the first album, so I was listening to her like EP or LP, like mixtapes and like past also like her audio work, which is I think like is her thesis, if I don't
Yeah.
mistake. Yeah, which is like amazing. And so like I entered in her world, and I was like really fascinated, and I realized that she is a great musician and is a great artist. So like I texted her, and I told her. that that I really liked her music and would appreciate like to have a talk. And then like she, and this is like something that happened, like, of course not so many times, you know, that like the artist tells you, oh, I have a script, I have I want a fund and I have to do this film by this year, because if not, like it's too late. And I said, okay, so send me the script. And I don't remember exactly if she sent me also like the album with the script, but I think yes. But if it was not like the same time, it was like really like in a very close days. And so like I read the script and I listened to the album, and when I was reading the script, there were like some scenes that at at that moment I really wanted like to experiment as director. So like it was perfect for me. It perfectly fit in like my research as director, like for example the scene at the party, and like this like feeling of loneliness at the end of a party, and like also during a party, or like during a party, like there is something happens that you feel like out of the room of the party, like out of the world, like that you go like somewhere else. So like Debbie with her script like reached to some scenes and to some atmospheres that I was like looking for doing them. Like I really wanted like to do them, even like with a project by myself. So like I thought that it was like a great occasion, and also like I met Debbie, um, and I felt like really good with her. And also like the album for me was amazing from like the very first listening. And I think that it was like a demo, and then because like it was 1 year before it was released. I mean, it was like very similar to the but then like a lot of things changed. And I remember that I entered in a loop with this album, and I was like really happy to do to translate in a cinematographical way this album that for me was amazing. And it's not only me that I say this.
No, but that was something that I saw. There's this beautiful confluence between the music and that darkness and what you're exploring and the film. It's just, I think it's quite rare when you see something that works so beautifully together. So how did you two, work together on the planning stages and coming up with the film?
Yeah.
A lot of meetings, like 1,000,001 meetings, I think, that we had.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot.
And what sort of the vibe of it as well? It's dark, it's twisted.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
watching it, and the various times I watched it, sometimes it's like I'm watching a horror film. Then it's like a coming of
Yeah.
age drama, but then it's got a music video feel to it as well.
Yeah.
So what inspirations, what were you guys working to in all your meetings and planning?
Well, I think that between Nathan and I, like the conversations that we had, because we had a lot of conversations, just us, before we brought in the rest of the like main creative crew. And a lot of it was just about like, you know, just talking about the ideas that were present in both the script and then also in the album, and kind of just trying to reach an understanding between us, and to make sure, we're on the same page and that we are how do I say it? Like we want to portray the same things.
Mm.
And so we had a lot of conversations, just us. And then when we brought in the rest of the creative crew as well, I think like things started to shift and to morph, because the original script as well had some edits to it and some differences. And there were things that we left out, things that we added in, like, the way that it always goes when you're making any kind of visual work, like just things change. But I feel like the changes like kind of represent this evolution, because first it was just me writing the script and all this stuff, but then now Nathan joined me on this journey, and so that is going to influence the way that the final work is going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, and also like I have to say that the time that me and Debbie like we spent like talking also like on something else, something more like about from the film, like not only like focusing on the film but like meeting each other, knowing each other, and like so like we understood that like I mean we became friends and and also like so like I could understand like the kind of research that Debbie was going to do with her album, and also like with that film, and also like the kind of personal, like the kind of personality that that is Debbie, and so like it was great because at the end when I like I went to Canada to shoot the film, it was like doing a film with your friend, which is like one of the best things that you can do. And also like I have to say that for the visual research, um, I think that also like the like also the cinematographer, which is Andrea Munafo, also like he spent also like a lot of time with us, and doing like a lot of calls, a lot of meetings, and I mean he's like a friend of mine since a lot of years. But then like he managed, we had like the opportunity to yeah to spend time and to become friends, to know each other, and also like to achieve on what like we wanted at that time, you know. So like
Yeah.
this darkness that you said, Sarah, and it was like the result of a lot of, you know, discussions and like also like talking, and like to find the best way to translate this, the feeling that you have while you're listening the music.
Yeah, yeah. One of my favorite parts of the film is it's at the beginning when we connect with the girls at the school, and you've got these incredible close-ups on their faces, you know, when they're going back
Yeah,
and forth and they're talking about everything. Why did you choose that? I mean, it's incredibly powerful.
yeah.
Okay, you can go first, Nathan.
Oh, you sure?
Well, I was just gonna
Oh,
say that like in that scene specifically, like I'm a fan of what's his name, Olivier Assayas, and he's like a French director, and he uses this technique in a lot of his films where he gets really, really close to the characters, and then he kind of like moves the camera around between people. And I always loved that aspect of his films, and I always found it really striking because it's about it's not even necessarily about the closeness to the subject. For me, like that kind of technique is more so for the viewer, even. It's like when you're so up close with what it is that you're watching, it almost feels like you're in the scene with them. And even that scene itself, it's like young girls, they're at school, everybody's gone to high school, you know, everyone's had that experience in their life. And so I wanted the viewer, almost wanted like this immersiveness, and then it's contrasted again with like once we pull out at the end of that scene, and it's like this beautiful wide shot. But yeah, that was what I was gonna say.
yeah. I agree completely, and also like I have to say that basically it was like a lot of time that I wanted like to try it and to experiment like this zoom lens, like to like to experiment this way of filming, like staying far away from the actors, so like the actors didn't know what like you were going to shoot, because you could shoot like their face or their hands or their foots or their legs, they didn't know this. But and then like when you do like a I mean, when you do like a fixed shot, you tell them, oh, this is a close up or like this is a wide shot. But with the zoom lens, they didn't know, so like they were completely free. Of course, like in a space that we told them, and so like I wanted like to experiment this, and I found this scene, which is not like the first scene of the memory from Debbie, is like the second one, but is the first scene where like we met her environment, her life, and it's like a lot of confusion because like it's like a group of friends in high school, which is like for me one of the most confusional things in the in the world, because also it's friendship, but also like created from like the circumstance, like to be in the same high school and to spend all the day together. And so like there is a lot of confusion, I think, in this situation. So like we decided to experiment finally this Zoom, and it was like really funny for me, and it was like a little bit tough in the editing. And but I mean, like Jacopo Ramella, which is like the editor, I mean, he managed like to create like that it was like fluid, like that you don't feel, I think, like the cut, because of course it's not like a one take. They are like three different takes, but I mean, with this like pan and this zoom, it feels like you feel like a continuity.
Yeah, no, it does. And, as you said, Debbie, it's so immersive. It really is.
Yeah.
And, for me as well as a woman, I was watching it and I was like, yes, yes. And you could see these faces and everything. It's incredibly powerful.
Yeah, and also like it was good, like because Debbie really wanted, like it's like also a coming of age short film, and also like there is also like the coming of age of the body, so like with that zoom lens we could like also go on details without like making the girls like feeling, I mean, like I'm shooting this thing,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was like more free.
So one of the main themes, of the film is this blurring. What's real? What's her imagination? And you've got some little clips at the beginning where sort of the guy in the mask. It looks like it's shot on vintage kind of film. Those vignettes. But then as the film moves on, you don't really know. How
Mhm.
how did you plan that out so we lose that?
I think I don't know if it was necessarily something I can explain consciously because I think it's part of like the whole surrealist aspect of the film and just like a lot of the themes, right? Like this idea of like um real life, but then also your this like fantasy life or this archetypal life where, for example, like the boyfriend, it's like, he wears a mask and him and all his friends, they're all masked and they're dressed in almost this like militaristic gear and stuff. And it can seem like it's like, oh, is this how they actually are? Like people don't walk around like that in real life, but it's representative of something. And so I think that that was just like kind of part of the entire idea of the film. Like the surrealism of it is like part of it. Like this is like the world that we live in right now, even, I think. And I just like think back to my own experiences, kind of as Nathan was saying, like this time in high school when you're coming of age and just like going through all these experiences, it's hard to discern like what's yourself, what's another person, what's real, what's not. And I think it lends itself well to the film.
Yeah. I mean, I have to say, the first time I watched it, I was like, is this guy real? Is he part of her imagination? It was really interesting. And then I watched it a second time. I was like, no, he's real. It's like
Yeah.
when he's at the party, like everyone's registering him. But I love that. I love when you watch something and you get more and more out of it each time.
Yeah, it's something that like the character Debbie in the film, which is like the main character, uh, needs accepts like during the film. Like for me, as the co-director, this is like one of the main theme of the film, like to Debbie to accept this strange guy with the mask. And
Yeah.
also like it was really funny to direct the guys with the mask, if I
Yeah.
can say, because like we we booked this mask in Italy, and also like because I really like when Debbie told me that her like art is hybrid, and
Hmm.
so like I really like to go in this direction. So like the mask we bought in Italy, but of course we didn't buy them like doing like a fitting with the actors, so
Yeah.
like they were not able to see anything, so like
Yeah.
it was like kind of directing things that they I was giving direction to them, but they were not able to like to see anything. So like it was
Pretty
kind of
funny.
fun. At the party, it was like really fun.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the party because, you mentioned that you wanted an experimental vibe. You know, Nathan, I think you kind of go towards that dark a bit. How did you film that scene? Because again, it's so immersive. Like I felt I was in the party with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So the party scene, pretty much we dedicated like over half a day to it, pretty much. That was like a big
yeah,
chunk of the film. Like I didn't want it to just feel simply like a party scene from that you could find in like any film. There was like certain stylistic choices. Like so for example, like the whip pans that we did throughout. Part of that was because I knew that during that scene, the song I Got It was going to be playing. And I Got It has like that motion in like the rhythm. And so I wanted to mimic that on screen as well. And we actually timed it to the song itself. And during that scene, like there was just like a lot that went into it. It was very hot that day that we filmed. Like it was really intense, but I think it just adds to the feeling. And we kind of shot it, how do I say, in this way that was like really true to life. Like we encouraged everyone. We're like, just act as if you're at a party. Like there was no direction other than that. Like, so everything that you saw that all the people were doing was all the actors, they were pretty much just like being themselves and like being in
yeah.
the party and very like immersed in the scene themselves. And I was really happy with the way that turned out because I feel like you can feel that on the screen.
It was like the challenging scene of the film
Yeah.
because like it was like full of extras and also like of course like we shot in the living room of the house that is not like very big, but I mean it's a living room and it had like to seem that it was like full of people and so like I think that we had like kind of like 30 or 40 extras, and like for me it was like the first time of course like, to direct like kind of a scene like that. And I remember that before shooting I said something in English, maybe a little bit
Yeah.
confusing that maybe like they misunderstood, but they laughed and Debbie correct me.
Yeah.
But at the
It put
end, like,
everyone at ease in the end. Yeah.
yeah. But at the end, I mean, when we played the music, because like when like we pressed play on the I Got It song, I just watched it like that. All these people that like I mean 40 people in a living room, they were like starting dancing and dancing and dancing. So like it was like really great to watch it, and also like there was Andrea with the camera with them. It was like a handheld camera, and like we talked about this thing of the whip pan, and but I mean this was like kind of a very beautiful moment that you had like just to leave things happen, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
cool.
I mean you have to dance when you listen to I Got It.
There we go.
So, I mean, Debbie, obviously you wrote this, it's your music, it's your film. But Nathan, you were directing. How was that relationship with Debbie as the writer and co-director, but obviously a performer?
Yeah. Um. So like as I said before, it was good like because we managed like to become friends, and also like for me it was like the first time to co-direct something, and it's something that like then I did like another short film and I directed this alone. So like, but this kind of project for me it had like a sense like to co-direct with Debbie because it's like her art and also like her universe. So like I was I was happy to co-direct this with her, and I think that we managed like to coordinate ourselves. Of course like during the pre-production it was like a lot of work on like listening to what Debbie said, and to understand like to understand her and her vision, and to embrace her vision. And like because like we shot this short film in 3 days, and Debbie also like was acting, so like we agreed that like on the set she was like more focused on the acting, and of course like with the role of director in like watching the images, and I mean if something was good, okay, or if something was not good, like we had like to fix it. But I think that on the set there was like a really good coordination between me as the director on the set, and co-director, and her like as like the main character, and also like she trusted me uh, as 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 like a director to direct her, like to co-director, but also like I had like to direct her
Yeah,
too.
you've got to kind of
And also like
separate yourself.
yeah, and also like with the actors, I mean, I think it was like very useful to work together. For example, like during the scene in the bathroom, I think that in that scene you can see like Debbie as the main character and as the director, because she brings like the other girls to the point of the scene, you know, like to this chaos, to this like excitement. And for me alone, it would have been like really more difficult, I think. But yeah, I mean, at the end there was like a good coordination. It was like a little bit, it has been like tough for some things, because of course this happens. I mean, we are two different person, but at the end, like we managed like to create something that we both like, I think.
Yeah. When we talk about like the tone, the color palette of the film, because
Yeah,
it's perfect. It really is. You know, it's dark, it's seedy, but at the same time, it has a levity to it. Yeah, I guess it's hard to put your finger on, but how did you two work on that and get it looking just how you wanted it to?
Well,
yeah,
so for post-production, I ended up going to Italy. And I was there with Nathan for like 2.5 weeks or so. And we
yeah,
worked on just like getting the final edit and doing the coloring. So I was there during the color session. And we had had talks before about it. Like we kind of knew what we were going to do going in. Like there were certain decisions we made. So things that took place in the past versus the present. They have a different grain on them. And even the colors and the way everything's like represented, like we knew what we wanted to do going in, but then it's just like hashing those things out like in person. And I'm glad that I did that because I think it just like went so much faster and smoother.
mhm,
Of course, always like when you're in person, it's a lot easier. But then it also gave me this opportunity to then come into Nathan's world as well because he had flown to Canada and he was here for a long time, like almost like a month, I
yeah,
think,
yeah,
while we were filming. And then we did post in Italy, and yeah, it was like it was good. It was a good experience to go and be immersed in his world, and I think that that once again is like translated in the film as well. It's kind of like this blending of the two of us. And then, yeah, I don't know. You want to say more about the color choices?
yeah. uh, like me and Debbie, also like with Andrea, and then
Yeah,
like with Claudio Beltrami is like the color is like we, but like we talked about this a lot, like me, Debbie, and Andrea, like to experiment like this graduation of the color palette. So like from the darkness, and then like you achieve the sun. Let's say so. Like you like the last scene is very sunny,
yeah,
and so like because it's like Debbie to accept her personality, to accept also like her artistic and like her part and her impulses to this artistic world that for me is like represented, for example, from ID, which is like the guy, the boyfriend, and so like from this kind of darkness, you reach like more like a sunny look, and also like we wanted to to do something on the opposite of like your our first thoughts, because like there is like the present and the past, and so
Mhm.
like during the post production, I mean all the film is shot by in digital, but apart from like the Super 8 scene at the river.
Yeah.
But like in the present, we like wanted like to give more like a sense of a filmic, and then like in the past give like the sense of digital. So like
Right.
a little bit like the opposite of like the first thought, but yes, we wanted like to achieve a sunny situation, a sunny atmosphere.
Yeah.
And it kind of was there's so many coincidences that happened that I think were
Yeah,
almost really meant to be, because when we were shooting, when we started shooting like those intro scenes, it was actually raining. Like it
yeah,
rained like on the first day. And we're like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? Because it wasn't planned that it was gonna be like a rainy
yeah,
day, but it ended up working out. So yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Sometimes these things are just dictated to you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
both.
you, Sarah.
Thank
It's,
you. Thank you
it was
so much.
amazing
It was
talk with
great.
you.